In the previous 3 videos, I talked about some of the fundamental concepts of cybersecurity architecture, including principles to follow, architect roles and mindset, and the third one on CIA tried. I will mention those links in my description box. In the next 7 videos, we are going to cover the 7 domains of cybersecurity architecture. Today, we are going to focus specifically on identity, or more accurately, identity and access management, IAM. Imagine a digital house guarded not by walls but by one question: who are you? In today's world of cyber warfare, identity is the new perimeter. Whether you are protecting a small startup or a massive enterprise, if you can't answer that question clearly and securely, you are vulnerable. That's because we can't rely on traditional perimeter-based controls alone anymore. We need to start identifying the users as early as possible. Think of IAM as the foundation of secure house. It is the plumbing of your digital world. And just like you wouldn't want your pipes leaking, you don't want your access controls leaking either. Welcome to your channel, Your Cyber Stop, where you learn security in a simple way. My name is Hemant, your security trainer, and for more details about me, please visit my LinkedIn profile. We often break IAM into what I like to call the 4 A's. The first one is administration, who gets what. The second is authentication, where we determine who are you. The third is authorization, here we determine are you allowed to do that. And then the last one, audit, where we go back and see did we get it all right. Let's explore how these all connect. We are going to talk about this architecture, which is a high level conceptual architecture where we are going to implement those 4 A's. Imagine building a house, the base level, the plumbing, the stuff we build on top of. In IAM, this foundation is all about storing and synchronizing identity data. Start by identifying different user types. For instance, an organization may have employees, suppliers, and customers. Each group can be further broken down. Employees might have admin, sales, marketing, and IT. Customers might be commercial or retail. These users have IDs and access that needs various capabilities, like access to HR system, finance, CRM, or email. Their identity, like names, departments, or account, is stored in what we call as directories. A directory will have some sort of database to store identity information, a schema on how it is stored, and essentially a protocol. Microsoft Active Directory is a well-known example, often accessed via LDAP protocol, that is Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. In an ideal world, we'll store everything in one enterprise directory. But in reality, different applications often requires their different directories. So organizations typically use multiple directories. To manage this, we need synchronization mechanism. Two approach includes virtual directory, where it acts as an index pointing to other directories. The second one is meta directory, where the copies are essentially copied into the central store. So the key here is having a place to store users and a way to sync data across system, forming an ecosystem of integrated directories. Let's talk about the first A, which is administration, where we manage identities like creating, updating, deleting accounts, and assigning privileges. This is often called identity governance or identity management system, which both mean the same thing. Let's try to understand by an example. There are 3 common use cases: new user onboarding, which is a role-based provisioning, existing user access request, one-off privilege request, and the third, user leaving the organization. Scenario 1. Meet Sam. Sam just joined your company as a finance analyst. HR adds Sam to their system. Now what? Here's the IAM magic. SAM info flows into the identity governance system. Based on his role, the system knows what access he needs: email, finance tool, or ticketing tools. Access is approved, some automatically, others with manager review. So the email would be an automatic because he is a new employee, he needs an email. Finance tool will be based on his manager's approval. Access is provisioned securely and automatically. In scenario 2, there is an existing employee which needs an additional access. Now he will not go to the HR to get those access. He already has an access to ticketing tool. So through ticketing tool, he'll raise a request and the process will be same. Based on his role, he will get the required access based on an automatic approval or his manager's approval. In scenario 3, what if Sam quits tomorrow? So the third one is user offboarding. Immediate deprovisioning for security. The same system ensures deprovisioning happens instantly, no lingering access. Now the HR system will have the info that Sam has left the organization. If Sam is no longer an employee, the HR system will raise a request and it will then pass through the same identity governance system, but it will now be a deprovisioning process and the user ID will be removed. That's security and operational efficiency combined. Okay, we have covered the identity management of provisioning and deprovisioning process. Now let's move on to access management, answering two critical questions. Authentication, who are you? Authorization, what are you allowed to do? Just because Sam logged in doesn't mean he can do everything. So now our architecture has access management added. When talking about authentication, when Sam logs in, the system checks something he knows, which can be his password and PIN, something he has, which can be the mobile phone, where a push notification such as SMS can be sent for verification that it's Sam who is accessing, and the final one is biometrics, something he is. So this is a biometric such as his face or fingerprint. Voice can also be one of the biometric, but with recent deepfakes, it is becoming unreliable now. Multi-factor authentication combine two of these. For example, a push notification to your phone or Sam's phone and his biometric recognition, which can be his facial or fingerprint. This is becoming the norm, especially when the shift towards passwordless authentication, which reduces help desk load and improves security. There's one more single sign-on. This is another key capability, so which instead of remembering multiple credentials, user authenticates via single sign-on. So this system handles downstream authentication, improving user experience and security, especially when combined with multi-factor authentication. So in normal scenario, when a user logs in individual to each and every system, it becomes a cumbersome process for the user. While with single sign-on, he logs in with a single username password to a single sign-on server, and then with that he has given access to multiple other systems. So this becomes an easy experience or easy process for the user. So that's answering the authentication question, who are you? For authorization, it is answering the question, what are you allowed to do? Are you permitted to do what you are doing? So authorization might use adaptive access or risk-based access control systems, such as where are you logging in from? So you might be logging, your location might be tagged. Are you logging up from London, or are you logging from Mumbai, or are you logging from Russia at 3 AM? So this can be tracked using the location. What kind of action are you doing? Are you doing some transferring funds, or are you just accessing your bank statement? Based on that activity, the access might be a strict or lenient one. So how often or how much are you doing? So it's frequency. So normally if you try to do your fund transfer once in a month, and if you're trying to do multiple times in a day, that could trigger an alert. So At these factors, all these factors help determines whether to allow, restrict or deny access. So it's like custom guardrail based on SAM's behavior. Okay, now we have discussed about access management. So there is a special case of access management. We call it as privilege access management. That is PAM, or even it is known as privilege account management or privilege identity management. All acronyms are the same. There are multiple admin accounts such as network admin, system admin, database admin or root admin. Although organization educate employee not to share password, these admin users normally use shared password, which can be risky. And it's generally across many organizations where privileged users only do the opposite and share or use shared passwords for sensitive accounts. Today we use PAM systems for accounts with elevated privileges. These users can control or compromise entire system, hence it needs to be controlled. In normal scenario, if there are 3 admin users and they are accessing 3 different systems, each system will have this root password and root username, which can be accessed by each of the admin user. So they are sharing the same credential to access individual servers. But what if the third person now leaves and the new person joins here? Are we going to train the existing and the new user with the new credentials? Moreover, if something is changed with that ID on this system, how are we going to track it, which admin did that? So here the PAM system comes into picture. This PAM system helps control such elevated privilege accounts. So it will require multi-factor authentication, and each will log in to the PAM to access this individual system. So once he logs into the individual system, does his work, he's logged out, and the next time when he tries to again log in with the same username and password, it will not work. So he now again has to pass through the same authentication process and will be given a new password now to log in. So these passwords are rotated automatically. These sessions are also recorded, so I know who did what. So if any admin accesses a server, IAM knows when, what he did, and revokes access. Even it records every keystroke. So now accountability is equal to security. So this improves accountability and makes insider threat much easier to detect and mitigate. We have so far covered 3 A's: administration, authentication and authorization. The final A is audit. It verifies that the other 3 A's were done properly. This involves logging user activity, both regular and suspicious. Now let's say someone creates an account, dumps a database and deletes the account, all in 5 minutes. This pattern could indicate malicious intent. For audit, tools like user behavioral analytics and user entity behavioral analytics use machine learning to identify such anomalies. This system alerts security team so that they can respond quickly, like having an AI-driven security camera constantly analyzing and alerting. Now that we have covered the 4 A's, now let's talk about the extending IAM beyond system that's using federation. Employee might need access to cloud app, SaaS platform or partner systems. For this, we use identity federation, allowing users to authenticate in one domain, that might be organization, and access resource in another. This works through industry standard protocols like SAML, OAuth and OpenID Connect. Federation is key to enabling secure cross-domain access while maintaining a consistent identity. Think of it as a digital passport. So far, we have discussed enterprise identity and access management, sometimes called as workforce identity and access management, focused on internal users. There's a related field which is known as CIAM, Customer Identity and Access Management. Here the focus is on frictionless user experience and privacy. Approval workflows are minimal, but privacy controls and scalability are critical. While the user base and priorities differ, the underlying IAM architecture remains the same. Putting it all together, we have now built a high-level reference architecture for identity and access management, storing and syncing identities, administrating access, authenticating users, authorizing actions, auditing behaviors, managing privilege accounts, enabling federation. That's your modern identity and access management architecture. In the next video, we'll dive into the endpoint security domain. Now that you know how IAM works behind the scene, ask yourself, is your organization treating identity like the new perimeter? If you found this helpful, subscribe to this channel, share your questions or experience in the comments, and share this video with someone who is building their career in cybersecurity. Until next time, stay secure and stay curious.